What's up, Dylan? What's up, E. Marquise? Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Watching the Masters. Anyone else watching? YouTube, what's going on? I haven't watched anything today. I literally turned it on 3 minutes ago. So I'm the first shot I saw was Scotty sinking a birdie just now. My picks this week are I got Rory in tier 1. I got Brooks in tier 2. I got Shane Lowry tier 3. Then I got Tom Kim tier 4, and then Maverick McNeely tier 5. Malik, what's up, man? Emily, what's going on? I'm watching the Masters. I got 60 minutes. I'll hang here. We got YouTube, TikTok, no Instagram live, but yeah, ask me anything. Fun hanging. Rick Lee, what's going on? What do we think of the new series of my wife's highlights? It's been fun making those. Wife's weekend highlights. Texas legend. It's a fitting username. Watching Scotty right here in the Masters. James Bryant, what's up, man? What's going on? Ooh, that's a sick hat. Who is this? I have the hardest time finding hats. I've literally ordered 5 hats this month, returned every single one because I have a freaking 5 head. So it's hard. I like have to have the high crown, but then things just don't fit, man. And then like the big blocky words phase that we're in with snapbacks, not about that life. Not about that life. Pitt has one of the most slept on QB rooms in the nation. It does, dude. They I gotta be honest, I'm totally blanking on their starter's name right now. Holstein, that's right. He's good. Eli's good. I called one Pitt game last year. It was Pitt BC, and he got hurt right before that. Holstein's good, especially there's not as many known quarterbacks returning in college football, just in general. Like I feel like the transfer portal market for quarterbacks has been down. Yeah, there's like Carson Beck, Georgia to Miami, but there's not that many known commodities, especially compared to 2 years ago when it was like the Michael Penix, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams class. This year, I think it's a lot of like homegrown guys that it's names that we know of right now, but they haven't played that much. That'll ultimately be some of the best quarterbacks in college football, like Dante Moore, Oregon, Julian Sayin, Ohio State. Alabama's quarterback competition is super interesting. Michael Jordan or Mikel Jordan. Thanks for the likes, dude. James, you left me hanging on YouTube. What? It's always funny to me seeing golfers attired on Thursday because I feel like it's their least favorite of all the 4 days. And so you get a lot of like muted random colors that's like you can tell the is either muted or random or like their most aggressive fit. Damn, come on, Rory. I'm Team Rory this week. Let's go. It's time. I'm hoping Rory gets to a point where he's literally just like he gets so over all the like shortcomings that he gets to just an F it mentality. And it's like, all right, all this like anxiety and like the build up, he's been at this thing for a decade. Like at a certain point, it's like, screw it. Like, let's just go out and play. You get so sick and tired of being frustrated. I mean, I remember that back end of my USC football career. I was like so pissed off of continuously walking off the practice field, like frustrated that I wasn't playing, that I wasn't starting, that all that eventually you just get, I don't want to say numb to it, but you get so just like irritated that you just kind of like F it. I'm trying to monitor my swear words because I got flagged last week on YouTube Live. But yeah, I'm hoping Rory gets it done this week. Who do you guys got? Artiste, favorite music. What's your favorite college quarterback that didn't translate to the pros? That's a good question. Favorite college quarterback that didn't translate to the pros. Damn, That's a good question. See, I didn't have a college team growing up, so I mean, I was like a quasi Wazoo fan. Shout out the Cougs, because my best friend growing up was a Coug. So I was more, it's more like NFL when it came to player specific. But who? I mean, I always got love for Matt Barkley, and I hate saying didn't pan out because the dude had like an 11-year career and made a lot of money, and 11 years in the NFL is a lot better than a lot of quarterbacks with big names and whatnot. Um, but he's the homie. He was great to me. He's a big reason why I went to USC. Had lunch with him on a recruiting visit. I thought he would have a better NFL career than he did, but had a much better career than me. That's for sure. G Money, what up? Is that? Oh, I thought it was different. G Money. Do you remember Kadeem Carey? Oh yeah, oh yeah, beast. Oh yeah. I gotta give you a better answer though. Favorite college quarterback that didn't pan out in the NFL? I mean, I think RG3 was super fun to watch. And if he didn't get hurt or entered in a different era, I think his story could have been a lot different. I always liked watching like the Jake Locker, Keith Price days at Washington as a Northwest guy. Those were fun to watch. Gosh, I'm giving you a weak answer. Who were the college quarterbacks when I was in like middle school that I was all about? Damn it, Justin. Who else is watching the Masters? Yeah, I need to watch the. Give me the leaderboard. I haven't checked the leaderboard at all. Anu Solomon and Matt Scott were solid at Arizona. Funny Matt Scott story for you. People ask me like, "Oh, were you frustrated that Ed Orgeron didn't get the full-time head coaching job at USC?" I'll never forget Matt Scott. I think it was. Oh no, I'm lying. Matt Scott. It was the quarterback just after Matt Scott, before Anu Solomon. Forget that lefty guy, the little rangy lefty guy for Arizona in like 2013. He like roll out to his left. We're playing him at the Coliseum. Puts a backline fade ball to whoever big receiver that was at Arizona. Ed Orgeron's our interim head coach at that point. He Arizona receiver catches it, gets 1 foot in, and I was the third string quarterback given signals that day. Like that was my job. We were a huddling team, and I'll never forget Ed Orgeron on the mic after that Arizona play happened. He goes, "Is it 1 feet or 2 in the college game?" And any football fan listening to this, like, it's 1 foot in college. Like that's just kind of like a day one rule. And I don't say that to like get on Coach Orgeron because there's a lot going on. New head coach, relatively new head coach. He wants to like confirm what's going down. But I say that in the context of like one of the reasons I don't think Ed Orgeron got as long of a leash for being a head coach or didn't get that head coaching gig is like head coach, every nuance of every single rule. The fact that he had to like confirm the 1 foot in or 2 foot in. And again, it might've been like a nervous tick that he like just was saying that just for validation, but he was a great recruiter. But I think a lot of athletic directors, his DNA for a head coach leading the program wasn't the normal DNA we're used to. Zach Patterson, what up, dude? Rakeem Cato from Marshall. He was a beast, dude. I had Marshall. I called Marshall's game this past year versus Virginia Tech. Mike Green, that defensive end, which like if you're following the draft stuff, he's projected to be a first-round pick. Which like anytime you get a MAC front seven player that's supposed to be a first-round pick, that's how you know they're nice. He's a beast. He like controlled that whole game. Marshall was in it versus Virginia Tech. That game was like week 2 when I called it. Mike Green was the best player on the field. Just got the number 3 gifter badge. What's that? I should know that. I don't know that. What is that? Cameron Thomas. Do I think Coach O will get back into coaching? How old is Coach O? How old is Coach O? Ed Orgeron, age 63. I do not think Coach Orgeron will get back into coaching. I think he has created a big enough brand for himself where he has all those Roback brand deals. Like he's like a mini influencer, not even a mini influencer. I'm a mini influencer. He's a legit. Ooh, that was close. Legit legit brand. Ludwig Eberg. That hat looks so dumb. Bro. I started this live talking about hats. Ludwig Oberg, his hat looks like his dad gave him a little baseball cap, and he's like a 6-year-old kid walking the fairway. I'm all about the street 3-stripe life, but we gotta be better than that. Told you, I'm struggling finding hats that I like. That one don't like. Rory's hat that he's watched, like right there. That hat is not fitting his forehead. He always rocks that like lower level, lower fitting one. Not that I'm the fashion connoisseur, but Coach O, no, I don't think he'll get back into coaching. What's my prediction on UNC's season this fall? Oh yeah, Zach, what up, dude? Prediction on UNC season this fall and how will Bill do his first season? I am skeptical, to be honest. I think there's a lot of intriguing teams in the ACC. I think like Louisville is a team that's not getting a ton of chatter that like I think they could make a lot of noise. Clemson has a ton coming back at key positions. I know it's not Clemson of like 5 years ago, but that's interesting. Miami's going to be legit. I think it's a make or break year for Virginia Tech and that whole staff. If they don't win 8 games, that staff's probably gone. Georgia Tech, I think, is going to make moves. So I'm hesitant on UNC. I'm intrigued to see how Bill's coaching style translates to college. That was last year. Because the whole my way or the highway approach that worked for the Patriots and Bill Belichick, that worked because he established it in the late 90s when it's a different generation of athlete and it's a pro athlete. I don't think that'll translate apples to apples in the college level. And so how does Bill adjust to, hey, you rip a backup 18-year-old safety a new one when the kid's just getting used to college football? That kid's going to shut down, lose confidence. He's not going to be a strong player. Does Bill have that softer side to adapt to different players like that? It is a softer generation of athlete, sure. I think it's a more like emotionally aware generation of athlete. I think that's why the coaches that are having more success can do both, right? A Dabo, a Kirby Smart, even a Lane Kiffin, a Dan Lanning, right? They have an element to their personality where they can turn off the hardo mode and tap into the more warm, loving, and I think that's what you need, especially in today's athlete, and especially in football when you have 105-person teams. So long-winded answer of saying I'm hesitant on the year one success for, I guess, what's success, right? Do I think they're going to win 9, 10 games? No. Is 7 or 8 wins year one possible? Definitely possible. But is like that success? I don't know. UNC fans are I feel like the vibe with UNC is always like, why do they not win more? Roll Tide. Enjoyed watching you overthrow that receiver. Yo, Tony, did you watch my YouTube video last week? I literally just talked about that. Let me know. That overthrow, man. What Tony's talking about is I watched back before I got booted from the YouTube live last week. I watched back my first college start ever versus Alabama last week. First time I'd ever seen it because I just wasn't a good memory. You never go back and watch it really. So 9 years later, I decided to do it. And when we were up 3-0 in the first quarter, had Juju Smith in the slot on a vertical route, expose, key, all amigo. Amigo is all go. He was on Minkah Fitzpatrick in the slot. He had 2 steps on him, and I like hung on my back foot and didn't step into it. Underthrew him. We got the PI. If you put that on a dime, like I know I can. We go up 10-0. Hey, it's the classic living in the past moment, but that game could have been different. What does Joe Burrow do in the offseason? Hangs on TikTok and YouTube Live. Buy the dips. Has anyone told you look like the older version of Joe Burrow? I get it all the time. I get older version of Joe Burrow. I get coked out version of Joe Burrow. I get Make-A-Wish Joe Burrow. I get Walmart Joe Burrow. I had someone stop me in the hotel lobby 2 days ago and was like, "Are you?" And anytime they start with like the "Are you?" I know it's not someone who's like follows my social media stuff. It's always someone who thinks they read into Joe Burrow. Joaquin Niemann. Dang, 3 birdies to start and then ended even. That's tough. Fun Joaquin Niemann story for you guys. 7, 8 years ago, this is when he was on the PGA Tour. I had a buddy that played in the Pro-Am of the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines, and I was like training for the NFL, so I didn't have a day job, and I drove down there and I caddied for him, and my buddy and his dad won it. And then part of the deal when you won it is the players and the caddies got a free driver. And so for the driver that I had was the Titleist or TaylorMade. It was the one with the red trimming. But that was my driver for like 5 years, and was super clutch, money driver. And then literally last year, I had a buddy who broke his driver on like hole 4. He obviously like wasn't the best driver. He like hit it off the heel of the driver and it like snapped right at the shaft. So he was using my driver the rest of the round. And I kid you not, on 18, he did it again and broke my driver. So this dude, the Joaquin Niemann driver, sorry, I skipped a step of that. My buddy and his dad were playing with Joaquin Niemann in the Pro-Am. They won, and I got a free driver out of it, because of Joaquin Niemann and my buddy's dad that lasted me for 5 years until it broke last year. What's up, Max? What do you think about Pep Hamilton at Maryland? I met Pep Hamilton when he was the OC at Stanford when I was a sophomore in college. Never forget, I like went on an unofficial there, and it was fast when Andrew Luck was going into his senior year, and he walked in with like little flip-flops, and they did a little panel. Jonathan, what was his name? That big offensive lineman was there as well. Anyways, I like Pep Hamilton. I think he's good. I think his offense has changed a lot, which I always like from offensive coordinators, especially nowadays in football, because does Pep Hamilton tap into like the Stanford when they have 67 different personnel groups going into the game with fullbacks and tight ends, or do you go some of the more new school wide open concepts? And when you have an offensive coordinator who's been calling plays for a while, or at least a lot of different offenses he can pull into at a place like Maryland that you're not going to have the best talent year in and year out, I think you need to adapt to different schemes and whatnot, or like pull pieces from different schemes when you have this quarterback one year and this stud running back the other year and this stud receiver the other year. That I like it. He was a good dude. He's a low-key dude, at least when I met him 13 years ago. I like Stanford, but I didn't have the grades to get in. I like had good grades. My high school was just super hard, but I couldn't get into Stanford academically. So Pep never offered me. I mean, met you at the Final Four. Were you the dude I fist bumped? That's cool, man. Thanks for saying what's up. The Final Four was fun. Yeah, I went to San Antonio last week for the Final Four, and I didn't realize. So it's trippy when you're there for the first time because this is like sounds obvious, but like, so there's 4 fan bases at the Final Four, which you forget, like, or I forgot or didn't realize, like the volume of people there when there's 4 different fan bases. Let's go, Rory. Let's go, boy. Let's go, boy. But there's like 4 fan bases, and they put them all in like the fringe seats and then like in the end zones of the arena, end zones. And I didn't realize, like, so CBS takes all the like 50-yard line prime seats. And it's funny because it's so corporate in like the prime seats, like right where you want to be. Hey, I was giving Ludwig Oberg crap for his hat, but his pants are sick. But it's so interesting because it's like fanatics on the edges, but then like super calm and quiet and buttoned up in the middle. I like had to switch seats halfway through. It was just an interesting vibe. So people tell me that's how the Super Bowl is as well. But yeah. Speaking of Stanford, what do you think about Frank Reich at Stanford for 1 year? Is it possible he's eyeing an executive level position? I feel like 1 year coaching job doesn't do anything for him. I think you're right in terms of it doesn't do anything for him. I'm taking questions off YouTube Live too, TikTok, if you want to pop over there. But I agree. My first thought is it's just, hey, he's a guy that loves coaching ball and had a hiatus year. hey, why don't I go help out Andrew Luck, who once upon a time was my franchise quarterback. Like, I think I don't know, but my sense is it's nothing deeper than that. It's just a dude that wants to go coach ball, and he's not going to be asked to recruit a bunch, and you just stay around the game and kind of see what happens. I'm working on it right now. It's funny, Johan. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I emailed Stanford's. It's funny. We're having a lot of Stanford conversation. I emailed their sports information director yesterday. I want to build out a YouTube long form video on kind of the state of the union for Stanford, because I think they're in a really unique spot where, and this is why they did the 1 year, bridge guy. Because I think if I'm Andrew Luck, I'm trying to use this uncertainty to, one, put leverage on the president of Stanford to lower the admission standards so Stanford can compete at a higher level in the transfer portal. Right now, Stanford can't get guys in because their admission standards are so high. They get like 1 or 2 a year, a few a year. But like, if Stanford wants to compete and get back to where they were when Andrew Luck was quarterback, they have to lower the admission standards to be competitive. And so kind of leverage this awkward phase that Stanford's going to be in 2025 to put pressure on the president of the school to maybe make some exceptions / use this year to kind of piss off the NIL donor base of Stanford of like, why are we not good, and have them donate more money. Sometimes that you need that, like at UNC, right? You kind of need the dip to then get a guy like Mac Brown, get energy, get a bunch of NIL money of people like, hey, we're sick and tired of being bad or mediocre. And then in 2026, you take over. Because there's no reason Stanford could have the best NIL program in the country, period. They can't, because they can't get guys in admissions-wise, but they're literally in Silicon Valley. There's no reason they couldn't absolutely – there's no reason one Silicon Valley dude couldn't fund the entire Stanford program and make moves. What was the QB room with Jake Heaps like at Skyline? Shout out Heaps, man. Jimmer, what up? You a Skyline guy? You a Northwest guy? Jake was a good dude, man. At that point, I was just a true freshman. For those that don't know what he's talking about, when I was in high school, the quarterback that I backed up my freshman year was also the #1 quarterback in the country, which is kind of crazy for a Seattle public school suburb high school. But Jake's a good dude, man. I mean, at that time, he was #1 quarterback recruit in the country, and I was just this Napoleon Dynamite looking freshman. I don't think there was no like quarterback rooms in college are much more like competitive and whatnot. In high school, he was good. He showed me the ropes. I think I didn't ask him a lot about the recruiting days, but I observed a lot of how he handled it and how, coaches coming around and that whole situation, which was wild again, because Seattle public school, like that era, my freshman year, Seattle public school, we ended up having 3 5-stars on our team. Receiver, Jake Heaps, myself, not at that time, obviously, as a freshman, but ended up being there. Plus, like, another half dozen D1 guys, which was like crazy for that moment of time. On the Platte, baby. That's why I have the Michigan State helmet in my background. That's my high school helmet. But learned a lot from observing Jake back in the day. And he's head coach of the Elite 11 as well. So that's he's crushing it as well. We're trying to build the YouTube presence. We got a few people there. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, watching the Masters on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Did you ever have any interactions with Mike Leach? I did. So Mike Leach came to my high school right when he got the job at Washington State. Again, my high school was we had some talent. So of all the schools in the state, you're stopping by Skyline, and it's so funny. He came with his assistant coach because Leach wasn't a very social guy, wasn't a huge recruiter. So he would bring his lead assistant guy, and his lead assistant guy would do a lot of the talking. He would do all the talking. Let's be honest. One of my best friends in high school, our middle linebacker, ended up being Washington State's middle linebacker. And Leach, we had this like team bonding activity where we would like for my high school team, where we would build shields and we would like hang them up in the locker room, and it was like shields that were like, "What are you working on?" And it was like symbols of like whatever. It was like some just team building exercise. And Leach literally spent like 45 minutes like reading the shields of every kid on my high school team rather than like talking to the recruits that were at my high school, which was classic Leach, man. He was 101. Who I got winning? Dude, I literally just tapped in and then I haven't looked at the leaderboard. I wanted Rory to win. Yeah, he's one over right now. There's a lot of holes left. Scheffler is 4 under. Goodness gracious, dude. I'm still going Rory. I'm team Rory. Let's get it. Dude, Scheffler just don't mess around. Justin Rose. Dude, that'd be so sick to see Justin Rose make a run. That'd be so sick. Joe, what up? How was my tryout with the Steelers? My tryout with the Steelers back in December of 2019 was the last competitive throw that I ever had. It was cool. Like, you know, the whole moment of trying out for the NFL team was cool, but I'll never forget was sitting on the right hash of the Art Rooney Center, which is where the Steelers work out. Sitting on the right hash, they asked me to throw a 20-yard comeback, which was like part of my workout. Normal. It's a big boy throw, but it's a standard throw for NFL. And I was coming off my injury, and I like got it there. Like if you guys had watched me throw, I got it there, but I knew in that one throw I was like, my time's done. My quarterback days are done. Just my arm wasn't there. I'd already been rehabbing for like a year and a half, and I always struggle like blaming the injury for like why my career ended because that just kind of feels like a cop out. But even to this day, like I can't throw the way I used to. And people ask me to like do 7-on-7 stuff, and I can't do it. And so the Steelers workout was cool to have that NFL workout, but it will always in my mind be the last time I ever threw a competitive football. So Johan, thanks for the question, but you know, a little bit of dual meaning there. Zager, what up, bro? I don't know if you just got here, but I had some questions about the high school days with Heaps, man. Football as well. On TikTok, hard hitting safety, man. I remember when you transferred in and came downhill and set the absolute tone into practice. And I remember being like, as a lanky ass freshman, $175, like, oh shit, that's what high school football is all about. What's your favorite away game to travel to while I was at USC? I always said this when I was at USC. Now it's mainstream, but Salt Lake City, Utah, the Muss at night. We would always play them on a Friday night. That environment was electric, and we would have them in the old stadium. The new stadium is even like cooler. That was sick. And then I'm from the Northwest, so going back to UW and University of Washington, that's cool too. I will say, UW's visiting tunnel is kind of lame. Gonna be honest. Like you like pop out of the corner and it's like not that intimidating, or it's like not as intimidating as it could have been versus like Utah and Oregon. The fans are like right on top of you. Penn State, the fans are right on top of you. UW, you like sneak out of the corner. The UW entrance for the home team is sick. I think they play like Till I Collapse still. Don't get me wrong, that's sweet. The venue, greatest setting on football, that's sick. Once the game gets going, UW fans are amazing. But you literally like squeak out of like the side corner, and it's like, oh wow, the visiting team's coming out. And I feel like you don't get as many you don't get as much of the boo birds. Thanks, Zager. Appreciate it, man. Hope all's well. I saw Case in I guess it's been a year ago. Hadn't seen him in a minute. Sounds like he's doing good. I saw him on the field at the national championship game, or no, Pac-12 championship game. Josh Burrow. That's a new one. Josh Burrow. I usually get Joe Manning, Peyton Manning, or Peyton Burrow. Favorite away game though. That's a good ASU would always get up. See, when you're at USC and you're traveling to the Pac-12 schools, it's always the biggest game for every Pac-12 team, home team. So you would always get everyone, every fan base fired up. What's another underrated one? Virginia Tech. Not when I was at USC, but I was at Pitt. Virginia Tech. You talk about tunnels walking out as the road game. Virginia Tech is sick, or the road team. Virginia Tech's dope because you walk out of the tunnel, you turn left, and literally the first thing you see is Michael Vick's retired jersey on the pillar right there. And then they're playing Enter Sandman. And I was a captain for Pitt. And so Enter Sandman's like rocking and rolling, and you're going to the visiting side. And like, there's memories for me of like, hey, what's your first introduction to college football? And like Virginia Tech, Enter Sandman, when I was in like elementary school, that's like peak college football right there. Thoughts on Sam Darnold in Seattle next year? Sammy D, man, I'm hyped for him. I think it was a great move by the Seahawks. That question came from TikTok. I did a whole YouTube video on it, so check that out. I'm posting a lot more on YouTube long form, so go over there. Literally type in Max Brown, Sam Darnold. Will probably be the first video you bring up. I think it's a smart move all around. I think you get Darnold for 75 cents on the dollar for compared to Geno. He's younger. I still think Darnold has more to tap into. Like the narrative that like he's kind of like arrived and like this is who he is now. Dude, mentally, imagine him last year going into the season where imagine his mentality last year going into the season of like, I need to play well because this is my last shot to be a starter. Now he has cemented himself as an NFL starter. Mentally, that could free you up to play even better or not feel like you need to play like Superman all the time. And the Achilles heel for Darnold is always like the goofy ass turnovers that he throws. Love you, Darnold. We were messaging a couple weeks ago. If somehow this gets clipped, but it's the random turnovers that he throws. If you're an established starter and you have more of a defensive identity team where he can just play within the system, hand the ball off to K9, don't feel like you need to make every big throw. I think I could see a role where Darnold maybe doesn't throw for as many yards as he did last year in the Vikings offense, but doesn't have the turnovers and is just like a rock solid QB. It was funny. One night I got home after it was like midnight after going to the bar, and I like went down an hour-long YouTube rabbit hole of Shaun Alexander highlights. Shaun Alexander is like the most underrated NFL player ever. I don't even think that's a hot take. I'm good saying that. For those of you on TikTok, man, I'm on YouTube as well. I'm posting long form there. So if you like my short form content, go check it out. As we're watching Scotty Scheffler just tear up this course. Anna Rozier, hello. What do you think of Jackson Dart lands? Where do I think Jackson Dart lands? Man, that whole Saints at 8 or whatever, 9 is interesting. Rams late is interesting for me. I just think it's the whole story of quarterbacks always go higher than we think. The Saints are in kind of no man's land with Derek Carr's situation, first-year head coach. I think you can convince yourself that Jackson Dart could be at that level. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes there. I like your turning 30 video right there. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that, Presley. I was hyped on that video. I made a video yesterday. I think it's what you're talking about. I made a video last week of how 29 is the most awkward age. Or I forget what I titled it. I said, why 29 is the weirdest age? And I got into the points. Go check it out. Has to do with people over 55 view you as being like super young, but people like 25 view you as being like 35 and like old, and you're supposed to have your life figured out. And like the duality there, I found 29 just like a really weird age. Also, people 55 have a tendency to like talk down to you, but you're not like that young anymore. And it's like, yo, I've had like life experience, like, you know, and your parents are getting older. I think 29 is the age too where all your peers take one of two lanes. They either settle into their life and kind of embrace the life they've built, or they continue to keep chasing. And it's like a very clear divide versus up until 28 or 27. Everyone's kind of on the same linear path. Anyways, I made a whole long form video on that. Go check it out. Do I got a Zach Banner story? Yes, I do. Johan, thanks for the question. ZB, the Hulk, the homie. Zach Banner was my right tackle. I'll get two stories for you because I just talked about one of them on YouTube. Zach Banner, right tackle at USC. I think he was All-American, played for the Steelers, was a 5-star recruit coming out of Washington. First story, it's related to that Alabama video I did last week. One of the throws, there was 2 throws I wish I could have back. One was the underthrow to Juju. The second one was Deontay Burnett on a similar route in the slot, and I couldn't see him. I couldn't see Deontay because Banner's big ass was right in front of me, which is like, all right, Max, lame excuse because you're 6'5". Like, how would it feel if you're 5'10"? But I couldn't see. Banner was right there. Like, he's 6'9", 360, biggest player I ever played with at all. And I couldn't see him, so like I pucked it down. It would have been a big time throw. Like, it was a tight window. But I elected not to throw it. I took a sack. It wasn't like my fault because it would have been a tight window there versus Alabama week 1. But wish I could have that throw back. And then 2, my freshman year of high school, another Zach Banner story for you. I roomed with Zach, or like it was like a whole like communal dorm situation at the overnight University of Washington football camp when Sark was the head coach. Banner was like the prize sophomore in high school offensive lineman basketball recruit. I was like the up and coming freshman quarterback. And I'll never forget Banner. Justin Thomas, good putt. It's a good putt. It's a good putt. He like couldn't fit on the bed. So we had these like little college dorms, and Banner is 6'9". Because at that point he wasn't as like, he was probably like 6'9", 290. Big dude, don't get me wrong, but like couldn't fit on the bed. I remember thinking that was like the funniest thing ever. That's when I first met him at the UW camp. And then it was cool. We were the 2 Washington guys that ended up signing with USC in that era. So always got love for Banner, man. Hope he's doing well. Busted up his knee, man. That was so tough when that dude worked his ass off, got to start for the Steelers in 2021 at right tackle, and then week 1 got rolled up on, tore his ACL. That was tough to watch. What do I think of Shedeur Sanders? I'm higher on Shedeur Sanders than a lot of people. I started the process at Shedeur was my QB1. I think he's a boss. I think baller. Dude, he kept Colorado in so many of those games with a trash offensive line and literally the mentality of like, let's roll out the ball and Shedeur, you go win it for us. And if you don't play at an A caliber level, forget even maybe winning the game. We might not even be in contention in the game. That mentality and that pressure, coupled with the pressure he's had his whole life of being Deion's kid, I don't think he's going to flinch when he gets to the National Football League. Like, I think he's going to like, there's going to be no like bright eye, like getting shocked moment. And I know he doesn't have like the elite traits, but I think he is natural with anticipating the football. And I think the Browns should take him at 2. I think that'll be super interesting because the Browns' history with quarterbacks, but you only get so many shots of being up at the top of the draft, and quarterback's the most important position. I think they should take him at 2. I hear the concerns, but am I here going to pound the table and say he's going to be the next elite Pro Bowl quarterback? But no. But I think it would not surprise me if he's a top 10 quarterback here in 5 years. I think he has the ability. Richard Nixon Gaming, Max, I have a crush on a girl in my class. How do I ask her out? Relationship advice. Love it. You're talking to a dude who met his wife at a frat party wearing a cow onesie with udders on it. So shoot your shot, big guy. Shoot your shot. Whatever you're wearing, whatever you're doing, go up and say what up. Never know what happens. And also, if you get put in the friend zone, which I got put in the friend zone for a year, maybe because of my Cal onesie. Keep battling, man. Keep battling. Settle down, Joe Burrow. Imagine Joe Burrow in a Cal onesie. That'd be good. That'd be a good sign. Patting the ball, is that really a thing? It is a thing. It's definitely not a good look, obviously. My take on that is, why did all of us, the collective football world, he's talking about Shedeur Sanders patting the ball. Why did it take us all so long to figure that out or see that? My take is, it's a factor, just like hand size. Would it deter me from taking Shedeur? No. But in a bucket of 25 factors, patting the ball is definitely not ideal. I think it's at that stage of your career, you cannot teach that out of you. In fact, I used to have a bad habit at USC. Clay Helton tried to teach me out of it. I'm using my shaker as a mock example here. I don't know why I did this, but I would have a natural tendency to like regrip the football like right before I would release it. It was like a little like balls here, and like pop, pop, like very subtle. You would only notice it if you like did freeze frame and film. But it's funny for me, I was not good at throwing the ball in cold weather, and I think it's because I would like regrip it, and the ball would get buried in my palm, and that's just not that's not good for if you're throwing the ball in rain or wind. You need to be like a fingertip thrower. You need to have space right here. That's not what you asked, but I bring that up because it's a little like quirk that I have that at that stage of your career, you're not teaching it out. I think with Shedeur's thing, it'll show up in quick game the most of like, hey, if you're throwing a 5-yard out and a DB who's a 8-year vet can keep eyes on you and break on that ball, that split second matters. So definitely not ideal. I don't think it would prevent you from taking Shedeur if you're the Browns or the Giants or some other team, because it's not that big of a factor. Yeah, Richard Nixon. There we go. I want to know who that is. Why do I feel like that's one of my homies that's logged in? What's good, Max? What program in New England is underrated? Does that team me up to try to say the Patriots? Would you play in the XFL if they called? I would not. Sorry. Again, if you're just tuning in, I hate blaming the end of my career on my injury because the reality is like, I had chances before my injury to put good film on the field and whatnot. But I can't throw a football without having my arm try to fall off the next day because of my shoulder. So I could do like little backyard throwing with nieces and nephews kind of thing, but I can't do a full on 7-on-7 situation. Just got the number 3 gifter badge. Oh, that's what it is. It's my bad. It's a TikTok thing. I was thinking I'm watching the Masters, so I thought the number 3 gifter badge was something related to the Masters because I went to Pinehurst and Pinehurst has like the Pinehurst number 2 tees and like the deuce coin. Like the deuce coin is like a Pinehurst thing. So I thought someone was saying that. That's funny. We got 4 people on YouTube, more on TikTok and Instagram, but 4 people on YouTube. Appreciate you for hanging out. Brad, what's going on? Let's check out this Masters leaderboard. Dude, if Justin Rose were to get one last run, I would love that. Scheffler, he's going to be in it to the whole deal. Who else? Jason Day. Jason Day always be hanging around. Denny McCarthy. There we go, Rory. Rory just got a birdie. That's what we needed. Freddie Couples, baby. Shout out Northwest, Pacific Northwest finest. You're seeing my thumb. Sorry, I cut my thumb. Had to go to the ER last week. No stitches, but sliced like the meat of my thumb off. Had to like put it in a little Ziploc baggie. TMI for you guys, but that was literally last week. My Thursday night was in the ER. We're good though. Could have been a lot worse. Johan, what else you got for me, man? Is Jordan Love a dude, or is he just going to be an average QB? I think he can be a dude. I want to see him with a receiver one. That's what's going to get him over the hump. Like if he had a dude that then would take some of the pressure off him and win one-on-one matchups. I think he can get there. It'll be interesting though. NFC North with Caleb. I'm not as high on JJ McCarthy as others, so I'd take Jordan Love any day of the week over JJ McCarthy right now and moving forward. And I hate that because that makes me like a JJ McCarthy hater, but pull up the footage. I've been saying that since last year's draft class. JJ's just never been asked. You talk about being a dude, he's never been asked to carry the load. He's never been asked to drop back 35 times a game and go win it for us. And I get you won a national title, but that would give me concern if I was the Vikings for sure. Will, what's up, man? When did you know at the time that Sam Darnold was better than Ricky Town? It's a good question. Honestly, the first 7-on-7 we did, player run 7-on-7 that summer, Darnold had an innate ability for timing. Like the biggest thing, in my opinion, that young quarterbacks, when they go from high school to college, they have to get used to just getting the ball to their hands. So like a timed out route or a timed post or a timed dig, like throwing before the receiver gets into that window. There's two guys that did not have a huge adjustment period that I played with that came to that, as that Bears dance around. It's Sam Darnold and Kenny Pickett. That's the reason both those guys are still playing, because it's like naturally in their DNA. It's not something they have to like think about. And Darnold immediately had that. I'll never forget though, fall camp, Darnold's true freshman year, my redshirt sophomore year, there was like a young gun scrimmage period. And Darnold was like running around in the back of the pocket and like threw an absolute dime. And our offensive coordinator, T. Martin, who's the quarterback coach for the Ravens right now, he was like all hyped and looked back and was like, it's a young Brett Favre, which is funny because people don't really comp. I've never really heard people comp Sam Darnold to Brett Favre, but there's definitely some of that energy, especially playing style. Let's be clear. Coming out of college, I think that's a really good comp. And for me, I remember being like, "Ooh, baby, this young gun's a boss. I'm gonna have my work cut out for me." Trying to beat him out. It's a good question. Love your takes, elite mindset. Thanks, man. What's my handicap right now, Brad Bombs? We cut it down by one stroke. So I was a 13. I hadn't picked up a club in during football season at all, and I had my first round in the 70s ever last week. Good brand of golf. So I'm at a 12 right now, but if I keep shooting in the 70s, that's gonna go down real quick in a hurry. We're working though, man. Had a little grip change, put more weight on my front foot. That's been a game-changing thing. I was always like hanging back. It was interesting. My quarterback days impacted my golf swing because in quarterbacking, you're taught to like hang back and stay explosive and like pop your back hip. And not get on your front foot, because your front foot's where you lose power, and your front foot, it makes the hair on my back stand up to this day. You get on your front foot and you extend out your front leg as a quarterback, and a defensive lineman rolls up on your front knee, you're going to snap your ACL. And that was always like in my mind of like, it's just not good. We just don't want that versus golf. And so I would bring that to my golf swing. I never would get on my front side. I recently had someone like stop me and was like, dude, stop hanging back. You're getting all handsy. So I'm getting onto that front side and we're making moves. Brad with the golf question. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Luke the Pook, can you help me cook up a parlay? Where did you play QB? I played quarterback at USC and Pitt. Luke, you're on YouTube. I did a YouTube video last month on my 5 favorite betting lines for college football. Go check it out. It was Miami under, and it might have shifted since. Miami under, win total. Virginia Tech under, win total. Vanderbilt, their win totals at 3 wins going into this season. Vandy, 3 wins. If they just win 2 of the 3 out of conference games and then pick up 1 SEC win, I guess they have to go over. So they got to get 2. But anyways, they have Diego Pavia coming back. It's year 2. Their head coach is calling plays on defense. So it's year 2 of like that whole scheme. Pavia is a known commodity at quarterback. Vanderbilt over for sure. What are the lines that I have? Michigan State over. I'm a big fan of Jonathan Smith. I think Aiden Childs has a super high ceiling as a quarterback. So check out that Michigan State line too. I forget where it's at right now, but Luke, there's your 4 picks. Go check out that. YouTube video. I probably posted it a month ago. It's on my channel. Come to a Pitt game this year. I need to. I technically went to a Pitt game last year. I called Pitt versus Boston College. Ooh, there we go. There we go, Rory. There we go, Rory. I called a Pitt game. Oh, this is funny. I'm rocking the Pitt shorts right now. I called the game, and they gave me a little gift bag of Pitt shorts, little hoodie, little workout tee. I'm always showing love to the Pitt Panthers. Joe Burrow, sorry. It's the long lost Joe Burrow brother. Tori, what's going on? I know you're keeping busy with your financial tariff videos. I'd be yeah, you and me both working in front of the TV. I was watching those. I'm sure your audience is keeping you busy this week. Oh, Aaron, for sure, bro. What's up, dude? I'd be following you on Instagram. I see the coaching posts. Hope you're getting the young guns right, man. I am a commentator. I guess these days, it's always funny these days. Like when it's off season, the answer to that question depends on who I'm talking to. If it's in football season, yes, I'm a commentator, color commentator, analyst, the whole deal. But like nowadays, in April, I go content creator because I don't have like a main. I mean, that is the main gig. I don't have like a ESPN, Fox reoccurring gig. In the falls, I do with CW calling games. But the answer to that question changes depending on who I'm talking to. Commentating your weekends with the wife goes so hard. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that, especially coming from YouTube because that video, the YouTube algorithm always intrigues me because I looked at this where that video has like 87 likes and like 800 views. So 1 out of every 10 people is liking that video. That's a good ratio in the grand scheme of like social media. But I'm always intrigued, like why, and it's probably audience retention and stuff like that. But you guys didn't ask for all the analytics talk. But thanks, dude. Those videos are fun. I'm heading to Coachella tonight at 9 as a 30-year-old. I'm past my prime on Coachella. I've only been one time, but I got a last-minute ticket. And so this week's Wife's Weekend Highlights, which if you're watching on TikTok, go check it out. It's a good little series I've started. But this week's will be fun because it'll be at Coachella, so it'll be a little special edition. Gage Turner, Bryson bringing it home. Dude, this clip might get cut, but hey, there's not that many people in here, so I'll give you guys my insight. Dude, I can't stand Bryson, man. I'm not trying to be a hater, but like, dude, you can't have it both ways. You can't be super out there on this in social media and be very cutting edge and be very, he just does a lot. He does a lot. And then push back when people criticize you or you get that criticism. You can't have it both ways. If you're going to be someone who pushes the envelope on content, then you can't go back and be like, oh, we're the haters and all that. Like you can't have it both ways. Embrace the lane that you're in. I don't. Team Rory, baby. Team Rory. What's it going to take you to convince you to play Pine Needles, Tobacco Road, etc.? Brad, what's up, man? I'm flying to Pittsburgh in a couple of months. We got some big rounds coming up, folks. We got some big rounds. I'm playing 3 major championship courses here in the next 4 months. I'm playing Oakmont as part of a U.S. Open Creator Day. before the U.S. Open in Pittsburgh next month. That'll be sick. I'm playing. Gosh, this is so bad. I'm playing the one up in Seattle, Chambers Bay in July. That'll be sick. And one, two. Gosh, there's another round. I'm traveling to Ireland for a wedding in July. I'll be playing some golf there, but we're getting right. There's another. I don't know. Yeah, sorry. I just realized you're the Wish Joe Burrow. That's what I'm saying. Mr. Valid, I don't know if you just tuned in, but I was just saying that. I get Make a Wish Joe Burrow all the time. Caden, thanks, man. I appreciate that, dude. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Shoot me a DM if there's any topics that I would love to make more videos on kind of the transition out of sports into the next phase of life, especially as someone who I was a guy that had tons of expectations, didn't live up to those expectations, and having to navigate that next phase of life is tough. So if there's questions that I'd love to make more content around that, but sometimes I struggle to come up with a thesis of those videos. So, shoot me a DM. Let's watch this Rory putt, though. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go, boy. Love hearing you cover the Beavs. Keep up the great work. I love calling Oregon State games. It's so peaceful for me. I don't know what – I know what it is. I was going to say I don't know what it is. I know what it is. It's so peaceful for me flying up to the Northwest, especially when I've had the Corvallis game like late August, early September. You get the sun out. I live in LA, so it's like peaceful going to Corvallis. I got my restaurant that I always go to. I got my coffee shop I always go to. I love calling Oregon State games. It's great people too. Boom. No disrespect at all. Yeah, it's all good, dude. I hear it all. It's all good, man. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. Love that. YouTube, we're up to 9 viewers. That's what I'm talking about. We're chipping away over there. I'm trying to build out my presence on YouTube. So if you're on one of these other platforms and have enjoyed my short form content or any of the bits and pieces on Instagram and whatnot, I'm doing long form YouTube videos as well. Dude, Oberg's hat, man. Not that I'm the fashionista. I was the guy that would wear cargo pants and before they were cool to a college party and goofy ass snapbacks my freshman year before I had friends call me out. So I'm not the fashionista, but dude, his hat, that ain't it. That ain't it. Duddy, what's up, man? What teams you all cover? Dude, I go where the football topics are, man. I'm a college football guy in terms of like my professional job during the football season, but that is one thing that you guys might find interesting. From a content perspective, the NFL fan is a better fan than the college fan. And here's the best example I could give you. If you're from Seattle, where I'm from, you're a Seahawks fan. You generally care about what's going on with Bryce Young's transformation last year in Carolina. But if you're in Seattle and you're a University of Washington fan, you don't care about what's going on with Cade Klubnik at Clemson for the most part. Like, even though he's one of the best quarterbacks in college football, that the fan, like in college football, you love your squad, you're interested in your rivals, you're interested in the mainstream teams. But the NFL fan cares about all topics in the NFL and not just their own team. Karav Hora, hi, what up, man? Ben Brewer, all good, man. Thanks for coming on. I'll be here for like 15 more minutes. I gotta go get a haircut, get some lunch, pick up some cash from the bank. That was kind of random. People, I go like once a month to get cash just to like, gotta have the $5 bills to, be ready to tip. Don't be a cheap ass out there, Don't be a cheap ass out there. NFL Mike, thanks, dog. Appreciate you, man. Did I get that because of the NFL take there? Burrow, Mitch, what's up, man? Fight on. Content idea has been QB with John Gruden. Wait, that's so funny you said that. I've been meaning to reach out to see, I'm making notes. I've been meaning to reach out to John Gruden's team. He's obviously a bigger creator than I am. I get that. But I think there could be something fun with breaking down my film, especially games where the games I got benched and was trash, and have fun with it and have banter. And now's the time to do it because it's off season. Let's go, Rory. On 10, the hook, cut the corner. Let's go, boy. It didn't roll out. It didn't roll out. Ben Brewer, did you actually get to try Snoop's gin and juice mixer at the bowl game? So I called the Colorado State, Miami of Ohio Snoop Dogg Gin and Juice Bowl last year, or I guess 3 months ago. Hung out with Snoop in the booth. Great time. I did not drink the gin and juice. I also did not partake in any flowery green substance either in the booth, which is another question I get a lot about that event. But Snoop was the homie, man. Snoop is super genuine, or at least was to me. Hey, I got on Oberg's hat. His shoes are sick. His shoes and sick or pants. His shoes and pants are sick. His hat ain't me. But no, I did not partake in any of the Snoop substances. But he's a good dude. You could tell he's not just a talking head. He's not just hey, his team is touring around the world. You can tell he's got a great business sense, and he's dialed. He also performed live. Get this. He performed live until 3 a.m. the night before his own bowl game, flew private to our bowl, and was literally on site at 1 p.m. to do the whole bowl game. So running on 4 hours of sleep. Dude, some of those performers are just built different. Yeah. Hello, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like a QB camp parody with John Gruden. I'm all about it. That'd be hilarious. And legit lessons learned. Yeah, no, that'd be good. Let me go. I'm writing it down. Let me try to reach out to his team. Go to his studio. That'd be a blast. Yeah, Ben. That was cool. He talked to everyone. He took time for everyone. That was super cool. What's my favorite episode of Gruden QB Camp? I always watch just the highlights. Probably the Spider 2 Y Banana. That was Andrew Luck, right? Probably that one. Victoria, what up? Yes, great idea. Love it. Hey, Max, longtime SC fan. What do you think about Lincoln Riley? Is he the long-term answer at USC? Sorry, they're acting me there. 1 sec. Take 1 sec. Loaded question. That's coming from TikTok. Again, I literally did a 30-minute YouTube video on that last month, so check it out if you're on there. I literally did a State of the Union USC video, so that will have all my thoughts. I think USC, it's not just a Lincoln Riley thing. I think from what I understand, USC stepped up a lot NIL-wise over the past 6 months. That's game-changing. I think there's a cultural adjustment that needs to happen with SC. I think Lincoln Riley needs to evaluate his play calling from last year and some of the inability to stick with the run. But all that being said, I think Lincoln Riley is a really good coach. I think Lincoln Riley can win a national title at USC. If I had a kid, I would want my kid to play for Lincoln Riley. It's not just a Lincoln Riley thing. I think you need some of the other pieces around him to fall into place that any head coach would struggle with. But it'll be interesting this year, man. I think to get to 10 wins gets you in the playoff if you're in the Big Ten. 9 wins, it's only a matter of time, in my opinion, before a 9-win team gets into the playoff. 9 wins is going to be tough for USC to get to this upcoming year. If Joe Burrow had a season-ending injury in college, you would be him. Marcus. True. And the flip side, if I had a more successful transfer route, I could have been leaning the other way. Yeah, the play calling with Lincoln Riley is interesting, man. And I said this comment on that YouTube video, which go check it out. It's called State of the Union of USC. And if you just type in my name, it'll be there. When Lincoln Riley's book comes out in 30 years, I wouldn't be surprised if there's an anecdote about the 2024 season and how that impacted his evolution as a play caller. Because I think Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma and heading into USC, his play calling was so innovative, right? He is the guy that made GT counter, the run scheme, like part of mainstream football. And he was the air raid guy that embraced some of the pro style run concepts into the air raid passing style. And that was like very cutting edge, like 2015 to 2020. But I would argue the collective football world has kind of caught up to that creativity and it's not as groundbreaking. But then if I was Lincoln Riley, I think a little bit of this happened last year, it's in his DNA to want to draw up the most creative, innovative, cool play call and call those plays in the game. And so he naturally kind of goes away from maybe meat and potatoes play calls and tries to be super innovative and whatnot, which, again, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I just think he overdid it in 2024, and it wouldn't surprise me if he did a self-scout this offseason and said, you know what, I need to get more meat and potatoes and not a lot of the side dishes type of play calls. And it wouldn't surprise me if we noticed that this 2025 season of USC get more back to the basics, so to speak. Austin, thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate you, bro. Who's your top college QB that should have made it but couldn't because that team because of the team that drafted him? I got a similar question when this live started. I think if RG3 had been drafted into a different era of football where, I feel like offensive play callers now understand how to call plays and the game's more wide open to keep dual threat quarterbacks more healthy. RG3 was a baller. That's one. And then Marcus Mariota. Like, I know Mariota's still in the league. Dude, Marcus Mariota, people skip past him on the Heisman run. People totally skip past him. And I think it's because he's like a quieter guy and, didn't have a huge NFL career. Mariota was a beast. Mariota was the best opposing college football quarterback that I saw on film. His last year was my freshman year. Dude, what they were doing at Oregon was stupid. If you got Mariota in a kind of a different situation, again, in a different era where he was still in that era as John Rahm is kicking his driver right now. Anyone else seeing that? Mariota is another guy in a different era. I could have seen him have more success than he had. Again, he's still in the NFL, so success is, a subjective term, but that's one thing. What about Vince Young, Max? I didn't watch enough of Vince Young all 22. Part of me with Vince Young is like he was so much more bigger. He was so much bigger, more athletic than everyone on the field in college that and his mechanics were not good at all. Would he naturally have had a harder time transitioning to the NFL regardless of what era he was in? So sure, I think Vince Young would have been helped by being in this era of NFL quarterback where they're more accepting of dual threat concepts and the game is more wide open. So that's a wishy-washy answer. So yes, I think it would have helped him. But I also could make an argument that when Vince was able to kind of run around and defenses were playing with 3 linebackers 95% of the time rather than only 2 and adding a defensive back, you could make an argument that would hurt Vince Young's ability to perform in the new era. So I don't know. It's a long-winded way of saying I don't know. Are you Joe Burrow's dad? I've gotten brother today. I've gotten Make-A-Wish. No. John Rahm is not golfing as much anymore. Don't get why he's struggling so much. Dude, Daily Sweets, thanks for the comment. I think with Rahm, it's so much of its mentality, I think a lot of these golfers, you guys are seeing the storage right behind me. That's funny in TikTok. I think Rahm had this whole trajectory. I don't even know the guy. I just from afar. So take this with a grain of salt. Had this whole like little anger management trajectory of his early career. Won the Masters, and I watched his interview at the Masters yesterday, where he literally said like the mentality shifted after he won a major, where he's able to like cut himself some slack kind of thing. And I think he finally took a breath, and then he took the live money and got a whole wave of criticism. And for a lot of these guys, when you become the bad guy, that messes with your head. A lot of these guys, man, you're playing golf. Like for the first 22 years of his career, I mean, he was big in the golf he was big in the like golf community, but not mainstream sports community. You sign with Live, you go on Fox News, you piss off 50% of the country. That mentality, I think, weighs on you. Golf is a game of 1 degree, 2 degree. I think that can get in your head. You start maybe for the first time losing confidence in your career. The mentality aside of golf and quarterbacking, very much a thing. You look like Peyton Manning. I'm saying either get Joe Burrow or Joe Manning or Peyton Burrow. Vincent, my favorite football movie is Friday Night Lights. Electric. That scene of Mike Winchell walking out of the tunnel for the state championship in the Astrodome. Electric, man. I would watch it before every single high school football season. It's a good point, Johan. Vince Young showed up late to meetings and didn't practice hard. I think he thought he was going to make a smooth transition. Yeah, that obviously you're going to do that. You ain't going to have success in the league, no matter what you do. I just saw your football journey bid. Had no idea you actually had a season-ending injury, bro. My bad. Yeah, man. I've said this a few times on this live. I genuinely hate. I still feel conflicted about bringing up the injury because it's true. It happened. I can't throw a football the way I once did, but then it always feels like it's a pet peeve of mine when people, it's the classic guy like, oh, if I didn't get hurt, I would have made it D1. Oh, if I didn't get hurt, I would have made it to the league. Like I never want to be one of those guys because I had chances to put film on the screen. I had chances to put together good film when I was healthy, and I didn't do that in college. So it's kind of the duality of that a little bit. Corey Connors winning. You like that? Joe Martin. See what John Rahm can do here. Let's go. Not a lot of people saying Corey Connors, so I respect the take, man. Sports Affinity, how tough was it dealing with the Penn State crowd in 2017? Biggest blessing for the opposing quarterback. Good shot. We got you guys during the day game. Night game would have been a whole different animal. But one thing I was very wary of because we were a huddle offense. The second the play clock got down to 12 seconds, the crowd would, ramp up. I made it a point. I never done this in any other game throughout my career. I would literally be asking our offense player, get the play in quick. Let me call a play as fast as I can. And so I made it a conscious effort to call a play in the huddle with 20 seconds. So it ended with 14 seconds. And even if we were hanging in the huddle for an extra 3 count before we broke the huddle and before the crowd noise really ramped up, that was always front of mind for me. So it was tough, but not get in the hole. Get in the hole. Ooh, but not as tough as it would have been if it was a closer game, to be honest. It's a savage comment. 1, 2, 3, 4 underscore. Ray D's DZ98, man. Yeah, that was wild. I was in the sauna last week talking about the first Alabama start with a Bama fan who was at that game, talking about it for 20 minutes. If you're the live I did last week, I talked about that game. I'm gonna get off in 2 minutes too, guys. So I appreciate you hanging. This is fun. I'm doing this every Tuesday and Thursday at noon. Lock in your schedule every Tuesday and Thursday at noon. Fight on, Josh. Mega Mind, Joe Burrow, baby. Everyone's got the azalea trimmed shoes here. What was it like getting recruited by Alabama? Did Saban sit in your living room? I met Fleetwood. First time I ever talked to Nick Saban was on the phone. I got pulled out of art class in first period, Skyline High School. Nick Saban was on the phone. My high school football coach like came into the room, and I could tell he was like all fired up, and like getting pulled out of class to talk to coaches was the norm, which was a blessing. But I could tell something was different about this one. Got on the phone. It was Nick Saban. I remember talking to him in my like cafeteria, um, which was cool. And then it was super cool. The first coach to ever offer me was Doug Nussmeier, the dad of Garrett Nussmeier, now the quarterback for LSU. When he was the offense coordinator at Washington, Saban hired him. So there was like a backdoor connection, which is why Alabama was my number 3 school coming out of college. Rec basketball lord. So I didn't get into golf until like the classic quarterback move until I was into college. So I've never played Aldera. I've never played Sahalee. I've never played Eastside. I would play like Twin Rivers like once a summer with like my dad's clubs. But I wish I was not into golf there. I wish I was. I would also play Plateau Club. I had a buddy that lived on the course, so I would play that like once a year when I get into high school. That course is sick. All right. Thanks for hanging, everyone. Appreciate it. I got to sign off and get a haircut, and it's just fun. Come next on Tuesday. Doing this again at noon. Come hang. Appreciate you guys. This was fun. Awesome questions as always. And go check out YouTube. Posting long form videos there every single week. And yeah, go check it out. Thanks, guys.